The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cowboys StoryLine. I'm your host, Nick Eatman, and it is time to talk Cowboys football. This is the show that you guys get a chance to sound off and throw out your opinions. Keep it classy as always if you can, but if not, we'll try to get through it. But this week shouldn't be that difficult. Everybody's excited about, or should be excited about, what the Cowboys were able to do last Sunday in Cleveland. We're going to move forward, obviously, and talk about the New Orleans Saints. So we can go a little bit backwards, a little bit forwards, whatever you guys want to do. If you're new to this show, remember this is what we do every weekday, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. Say 10 a.m. That's Central Time, and we're here every day. And we're just like the Cowboys were against the Browns. It was an all-day thing. We're still talking about that. We'll talk about the games moving forward from a Monday night game the 49ers had against the Jets. That was interesting to see. So Christian McCaffrey out. They still just plugging along, though. So we'll try to keep it focused, though, on the Saints ahead, but yet we do like to look at the rest of the NFC, the rest of the NFL, especially when you're talking about some of the top teams. So, all right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call, and we'll just get this thing rolling right off the jump here. Pete is in Connecticut. You're first off. What's up, Pete?
Hey, Nick. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Second day in a row. I'm trying to represent Connecticut
There
this
you
week.
go.
So
There you go.
I just want to say, go Cowboys, down with the Eagles. And I was just wondering what you think will be the tougher battle this week against New Orleans Saints. Do you think our offense will be able to put up a lot of numbers, or do you think our defense will have a lot of sacks and interceptions this game? All right, thank you so much.
All
Let's
right.
go Cowboys.
Thank you. All right, Pete, appreciate that. Quick and easy, getting us started. I think that on both sides of the ball, I think that the tougher thing for the Cowboys will probably be the defense going up against the Saints offense. I would imagine that's going to be a tougher test than what they had before with last week with Cleveland. They just didn't seem ready to go at all. Deshaun Watson looked very rusty. The running game wasn't there. Now I give Cowboys credit. I mean, you got to give the Cowboys credit for some of that, but I expect the quarterback to be more accurate. He was accurate in the game against Carolina. So they're going to face a defense much tougher than they faced last week against the Panthers. And the Cowboys are probably going to face a tougher offense than they had before. So, something's got to give. I don't think that either game will be as dominant as it was, but expect the Saints to, here's the difference, though, with going up against Derek Carr and what you had with Watson. The Carr's going to be a lot more accurate. Who couldn't be? I mean, seriously. He's going to be more accurate than Watson. But if he gets hit that many times, he's not going to shed that many sacks like Watson did. I mean, he should have been sacked 10, 11 times. Carr won't do that. Like he'll probably get the ball out quicker. I think they don't go down the field as much. They like to keep it short. Now they do have some playmakers that can get down the field if they need to, but I think you're just going to see a different type of offense. But that would be the biggest change there. I think the Saints defense looks pretty good, but again, it's too early to tell on how things are going to be. I've always said this. I go back the last 10, 15 years. I think week 2 is always one of the most important games of the season. Every time you ask me when the schedule comes out, which game are you looking at? I always say week 2. Week 2 is so important to me because you're trying to set the tone for what your season's going to be. If you get a big win, don't go back and backtrack and lose, and that's how you get in that 8-8 status by going 1-0, 1-1, 2-0. Build on that, stack wins together. So important to be able to do that and establish yourself as one of those teams. If you lose week 1, you've got to win. You've got to win that one. So I always think that week 2 is so important, and not just for the Cowboys, but for all teams. So the Saints are trying to show themselves, Cowboys as well. All right, let's go to Michael in Colton, California. You're next, Michael.
Let's go. Hey, Nick, I have a question for you.
How about them Cowboys?
All right.
Let's go.
All right, Michael.
Hey, Nick, look, man, I've been a Cowboys fan, man, as far as I can remember. I'm not going to say my whole life because, of course, when I was a baby. But anyways, get to the point. I've watched this team through so much stuff, and I'll tell you what, man, I have never seen this defense looking like so sound in their defense. The focus was amazing. I just also want to highlight our young stars, these young up-and-coming stars we have. Overshown that dude was bad. And then Marshawn Nealon, man, he had a great game too, and that's just awesome, to have that right there in place for our future. And I just want to give a shout-out to the coaching staff, Mike Zimmer, also Mike McCarthy. I think they did great.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, I am looking forward to this Week 2 matchup against Derek Carr, but I'm not too worried about it. At the end of the day, Derek Carr is Derek Carr. He's going to do Derek Carr type of things, you know what I mean? But I just want to send a huge shout-out to the whole Cowboys Nation, the team, and everybody else, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. God bless you all,
All right.
and have a great day, Nick.
Thank you. All right. Well, a lot of positivity. That's what I was talking about when we started the show. There's just that's what happens when you get a big victory like that, and that's in what's not to like. I mean, you should be excited about what you saw on defense. I mean, a lot of speed from the linebacker position. That's something we just haven't seen. But not only speed, but then also, because you can get speed at linebacker, you can play Marquise Bell there like they did last year. I mean, but it's the combination of speed and power. That's what Overshown brings. That's what Eric Kendricks brought. Middle linebackers, you don't have to worry about what their 40 time is. I mean, the best middle linebackers are the ones that can see, react, and get there. And I'll never forget, it was a videotape. I might have mentioned this before, but it always stood out to me. It was a videotape I had when I was a kid. It was called it was an NFL Films video called Crunch Course, and it was talking about big hitters and guys that were mean and good defensive guys and I remember somebody saying about the linebacker Dick Butkus that if he had to do a 40 it would take him 3 days, but he could get sideline to sideline faster than anybody on the field, and that's what a good instinctive linebacker is. Kendricks get up there and fill the hole. Overshown chasing down the quarterback on the sideline. That's what linebackers see it, go and run to the ball, hit it, make the play. So it's not just about speed, but it's about just the awareness that makes you faster. So, but that's something that is very exciting to see, and I know that Michael just mentioned that about Derek Carr doing Derek Carr things. Most teams are going to say that about the other quarterback. I guarantee there's people that'll say that about Dak. Well, Dak will do Dak things or whatever that is. Just know that it's going to be better. They're going to have a tougher challenge this week, I believe, than they did last week. I mean, Deshaun Watson just was not accurate at all. He threw a lot of passes that the cheerleaders could have caught. I mean, they were just on the sideline. They just weren't good plays, weren't good football plays. They looked out of sync. And so you can definitely tell that it was a difference in the way he has played in the past and what he played in that game. Give the Cowboys credit for making him look that bad. All right, Randy in Texarkana is next. Randy, what's up?
What's happening, my brother Nick?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I'm seeing something that's starting to happen again this year already in the first week that we talked about a lot last year. And that's the passing game overwhelming our running game and needing to even it out. And my question to you is, we have a three-headed monster offensive coaching system with Mike and Schottenheimer. They have both always, especially Schottenheimer because his title is passing game coordinator, the two of them lean heavy passing, and then you've got Blasco that's the running back coach. Do you think that his voice is not being heard? I mean, I know it's being heard, but I mean, with two guys versus one, do you think that maybe that's where a lot of the overwhelming passing game starts to get in the way, and maybe Blasco might want to speak up and maybe get some more runs in there? Because, boy, after watching what the Lions did to the Rams at the end of that game, we could get a little bit of that, just a flavor of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know different teams do different things, and we don't have the personnel that they have to match that. But, boy, it sure wouldn't hurt to try.
Yeah. Well, let's yeah, I mean I think it's early. Thank you for the call, Randy, and that's good thinking there on how they're doing that with one game down. It's so early to say. I feel like this is the deja vu from last year when the Cowboys had that game against the Giants, and even in week 2 against the Jets, where the question was like, what's wrong with the team? What's wrong with the running game? I mean, they're kicking too many field goals, and I just think you get to a point where you just manage the game. Like you can tell it's almost like a boxing match, where the fighter goes out and he's dominated the first 6-7 rounds here. He's won them all, and he's got them staggered, and he's got this thing. Just don't do anything stupid and get caught and take a shot, and then thing could be over. That's the only way you're going to lose. And so once that gets established, it changes everything. You gotta remember now, the Browns, they played 5 quarterbacks last year, and they were 11-6. They were a good football team, and their offense had no consistency at all. So what was good? Obviously, their defense. And you get to a point where you get a conservative – Cowboys switch to conservative offense there in the second half. Why do anything crazy? This game is over. This game is over. The Browns can't do anything. And so once that happens and you combine those two together, I think that's what it's going to look like. Yeah, you would like them to blow them off the ball and run better and all that kind of stuff, but that's not really the way the Cowboys are built right this second to be that way. Now, I'll say this, though. When it was time to go score, when they had 1st and goal into 3, that's what I wanted to see. Could they run the ball in? They did. With one play, they ran it in. So when it's time to run, can they do that? It's been one game. It's a tough one to tell. So I don't really know about who's doing what, who calls the plays, and I mean I know McCarthy calls the plays, but as far as having the running backs coach speak up and all that, Mike McCarthy has been there with Green Bay for years, and he had Brett Favre and he had Aaron Rodgers. He throws the ball. I mean that's his offense. He throws the football around. And if you have a good connection with your receivers, your tight ends, your backs, with your quarterback, you can throw the football and still be somewhat conservative, still be ball control, if you can be on the same page. And so I like the way that first game is. Let's see before it's before we call it a trend of them not running. Let's see what happened. They knew by halftime they were winning that football game. So that's how they managed the second half. I had no problems with it. Let's see what happens when you really get into games where you really have to run the football. It's imperative to run. Let's see if they can do it or not. All right, I'm going to go to a text message question. That's another thing we do on this show. We get text messages on the text line. This is Zach in Atlanta. He says, you mentioned that because you cover the team, you haven't been able to watch a Cowboys game on TV with your kids. If you could choose one game to watch with your kids from the past 25 years, which one would it be? Wow, that's making me think here, Zach. I wasn't prepared for that one. Oh, man. Well, it wouldn't be one of the ones that would make them cry. Wouldn't be that. It would be a fun game. I think I'm just randomly throwing one out. Pittsburgh in 2016. What a fun game that was. A lot of big plays in the game early on. Zeke with the long touchdown, and then Dez caught a long touchdown pass, and then looked like they were going to win, and they scored, but then the Steelers came back, and then they scored, and then the Cowboys had chances. They had a chance to come back, and Zeke goes and I mean, it was just like a tennis match, really, is what it was watching if you're at center court there. That was a fun game, hard-fought game, and just a lot of playmakers making plays. That's one that, what's not to like about a game like that, other than your heart rate going up and stuff like that. But as a kid, it'd be cool to explain the game and do all that. But it's, that's just something no one's feeling sorry for me on that. I haven't missed a game since 2000, and I'm pretty proud of that, and I love it. But yeah, there is a sacrifice there. But you know what? They still watch the game, though. Their mom has the game on for them. They still get to watch the football game, so that's a good thing as well. All right, let's go to Eric in North Carolina.
Hey, what's going on, man? Actually, I'm in Florida, Nick. I'm celebrating my 16-year wedding anniversary with my wife down here in Miami. So I am from North Carolina, but I'm currently in Florida.
All right.
Having a great time. I'm going to be real quick, Nick. First of all, I hope you're doing well.
Thank
Cowboys for life and everything, no doubt. I just have a quick question. I'm gonna talk about the defense real quick. The defense looks faster. It looks more assertive. I like the way he's disguising the coverages. He's showing some things, doing other things. And I read a couple articles where Dak kind of struggled with that. And that's always, to me, that's always been Dak's Achilles heel. At the snap, recognizing what's being played, through those disguised coverages and making the right read. Do you think that's going to translate to even better quarterback for Dak, for the fact that he has to play against his defense every day and the struggles that he can oppose in offense? Do you think that makes Dak a better quarterback overall? Or, there's nothing to really look into that? That's pretty much my question. Because I really feel like this is going to make Dak even better, playing against his defense every day. And I'm going to get out you guys with Cowboys for life.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Said he was from Florida. It sounded a lot further away than that. Had a hard time with hearing some of that question. I know it was about Dak, pre-snap processing. Is that one thing that'll make him a better quarterback? I mean, that's yes. I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean, as you get a little bit older, I mean, there's different levels to your progression. Can you throw the ball when coming out of college and you make all the throws? Great. But if you're not, you have to develop that kind of stuff. And I think reading defenses, reading coverages, seeing, trusting yourself on what kind of throws work for you, that's always a process. Even Romo said it. 10 years into his career, he was still learning how to do certain things and got to a point where he could, where he understood how to make certain throws. So that process will never change. That evolving as a quarterback, as a player, is something they all need to do. And I get it. You can easily say, wait, time out. We're paying this guy $60 million a year. There should be no more evolving. There should be no more, in anything. There should be nothing else that you should be the perfect player. But that's just not reality. That's not what it is. Remember, these contracts are paying players for what you expect to happen and what you are going to get, not for what you've done. And so that's remember that. And that's what the Cowboys are paying for. They're paying for a player of what they expect to happen here for the next for this year and four more. And the money says they expect them to be an elite quarterback. And I think that there are some things Dak still needs to work on, of course. But they, at the end of the day, do they feel like he's the guy that can get them where they want to go? And they certainly believe that. All right, let's go to Al. He's in Merkel, Texas.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good. What's up, Al?
Hey, I'm just glad they got Dak signed because I was just so nervous that we were going to go through those years of signing baseball players and wannabes and has-beens. So I'm just glad. I think Dak at the moment gives us the best opportunity to get where we need to go, like you just said. And then the other thing, I just got some quick little observations I made. I think in the first series, I saw Dak get hit harder than he's been hit in a while. And if you look, it was Zach Martin's guy that came up right in the middle and nailed him in the face mask.
Sure.
And then the second one was, it's kind of funny if you'll go back and look at it, when Turpin scored on that punt return, he points to the guys that get the kicker, and both 24 and 42 both whiff on him, on the kicker. But the kicker, I guess he was frozen and thought he was going to get nailed. He didn't even move, but both 24 and 42 whiffed on him. And I think it was funny because Turpin saw 2-4 or 4-2 or 4-2 and 2-4, go right in front of him and missed that block.
Well, you know what 2 and 4 added up to?
6.
And that's
what he got.
And that's what he got. That's what he got. And I give credit to Turpin on that play, because the way he I love the way he kind of set it up, just with the fake to go back inside and then score. That's kind of been an issue with him, just finishing those plays and getting close to the touchdown. I thought he did a great job of kind of setting that play up. And it's tough for those guys to know exactly where to block and who, especially in the open field, of what Turpin's doing behind them. But he had those quick moves and got in there. It was really good to see him get a touchdown.
Hey, I'm glad y'all are back. I'm glad the season started, and I'm looking forward to hearing your insight and some of the people that call in, and just very excited. It's a good time of the year. Yeah, well,
thank you for calling, Al. Appreciate that. And he mentioned earlier about Zach Martin. That play, yeah, it was a little surprising that it was Zach that gave that up. little longer than you would usually want to block there. I mean, I think Dak was staying in the pocket for a little bit. But with Zach Martin, you kind of expect that he could block, for 6 days in a row if you needed to. And so, yeah, and Tomlinson kind of got free and delivered a huge hit on Dak, but he was able to get up, and that was about the only negative thing that really happened for the offense in that first half. All right, we're going to take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back to take more text messages and phone calls.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Rally Days, presented by SeatGeek, returns to AT&T Stadium on September 14th. Enjoy activities at Miller Lighthouse, get behind-the-scenes tour of the stadium, and more. Visit AT&TStadium.com/Rally Days for more information to get your tickets today. All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline. We got the phones ringing in the back. I can hear them. We got let's see if we got the text messages rolling in as well. Let's start us off with Curtis in Oklahoma. Curtis is next.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Curtis.
Man, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Hey, I just am super excited to have Eric Kendricks. That dude's a beast. And I think I heard that he was almost a 49er, and that just kind of makes me nauseous. So he looks so much better with the star on his helmet.
Yeah, for sure. And he would have fit in with that defense, the way that they run around and make plays. And how scary would that have been with Fred Warner and Kendricks, there in the middle. But he plays with that type of football that we've seen the Cowboys go up against, especially with the 49ers. So I could see where that would be an issue. There would be a scenario that he would want to go to. But reuniting with Mike Zimmer, he's not making a lot of money either. I think it's like $3 million or something per year, but a chance to kind of prove himself. And I really love every time I've got a chance to talk to him or listen to him. It just seems like he's just so level-headed. Yeah, he understands what he's trying to do. Understands the defense really well, and he's kind of the new guy, but he's also the old guy that knows the defense. And so he's the leader on one hand, but he doesn't come in and try to overtake the locker room. He still kind of understands. And that's always a little different. It's a little unique for a veteran like that comes in. A lot of players that have been here are asking him questions because he knows this defense. But in terms of being the captain or being a leader and leading the locker room, you also kind of understand your role and your place, and knowing that there are guys like Micah and Tank and Jordan Lewis that have been here for a long time, and Trayvon Diggs and those guys like that. So I love the way he has that balance, and so far so good. First game was amazing for Eric Kendricks for sure. All right, let's go to next caller is Maurice. He's in Tacoma, Washington. Maurice.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy, especially great after a good victory.
Yeah. For sure.
My call is about this the contract with Dak. I'm so happy we were able to get that sealed up and done with. And I kind of feel like Jerry is such a mastermind. They already had this thing in order far before the weekend started. And I feel like he threw that in there an hour before the game to use him in like a gamesmanship type of way to play with Watson's head. And I think it worked to perfection. I was wondering what you thought about that. Do you think that maybe that was a little bit of gamesmanship on the part of Jerry Jones? I'm hang up and listen. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you, Maurice. Excellent thought. I don't agree with it at all. I really don't. I don't think that getting into Deshaun Watson's head has any factor in that contract. I think they wanted to get the deal done, and they almost got it done Saturday night. It didn't really, and then it carried over into Sunday. Dak made it very clear he wanted to get the contract done before the season started, and if it was going to get done at all, let's get it done there. And I really don't think it had anything to do with Deshaun Watson and getting in his head and all that. That wouldn't seem to be even a factor there. When you get paid, you get paid. You understand. These quarterbacks understand. I mean, Dak said it. I mean, he's not going to be the highest paid quarterback for too long. I mean, he'll be. Everyone just keeps jumping each other. That's the way that it works. And so, these quarterbacks, they kind of stick together because they understand that you get paid like that, then the next guy's coming in. And the next guy's coming in. There's a lot of people in the league. I mean, most people don't believe Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, most people do not believe that. So we all know this, that the next contract will be higher than that when it's time. I mean, Dak hasn't gone to the NFC Championship game. It's been well documented. He hasn't gone to the Super Bowl, of course. So the players that are making less, I mean, they got their hand up. I don't know, are they in the back, like just saying hello, or are they say what, wham, what about me? Either way, that's going to happen. Deshaun got his. That probably helped Dak get his. I don't think it had anything to do with let's do it right now, and that will really mess him up. He had a lot of problems. He had a lot of problems in the game, and I don't think it had anything to do with that. So I don't always disagree. I mean, that's your opinion, and if you're gonna stick by it, that's fine. I think that was a little too deeper than that. I don't think it had anything to do with Deshaun Watson or that. They just wanted to get the deal done, and the season was almost started. They wanted to get it done. All right, next caller is Rick in Massachusetts.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Not much, just working. Got a question for you. I know when Deron Bland comes back and you have Kalen Carson playing well and Jordan Lewis and who sits on the bench? It's going to be Kalen Carson that takes back over Deron Bland's thing, or do you think they'll sit Jordan Lewis? I think it would be Kalen Carson, but what's your feelings? And I'll let you get off and let hear you. Thank you.
All right. What a good problem to have. Thanks for the call, Rick. Good problem to have. I knew it was going to happen too. At some point when you're like, what happens now? The good thing is this is not quarterback, okay? Where it's like you play one. This is corner. You can play. You can have a lot of different packages out there. They're going to play. I think with the injury that you had with Deron Bland, Jerry Jones was asked that on Tuesday on his radio show. He was asked that question about what happens when when does Bland come back and all that, and he didn't give a definitive answer because it's just going to depend on his rehab. But he also said, we'll see how Kalen Carson is playing. I don't think what he meant was if Carson's playing well, Bland doesn't get his job back. He says, I think it'll depend on when he comes back, and they're not going to rush him back, but he'll come back when he's ready. But it might be a situation where like one more week would be better. Carson's playing well, let's do that. Maybe the bye week is involved there, but I think that with four corners, they all can play. They can have packages where they're out there doing some good things. I would imagine Bland comes back, but and starts and opposite of Diggs. But Carson you're gonna be able to play him. And I remember Mike Zimmer. I remember exactly where I was at Valley Ranch on this track right by this hill, where after a mini camp in the summer, probably of 2004. 3 maybe, where Mike Zimmer said, you can never, ever, ever have too many corners. I remember him saying it, and he was the defensive coordinator or defensive backs coach, or probably defensive coordinator. And he's right. He can't have too many corners, and so they don't have too many right now. It's a good problem to have. All right, let's go to David in Fort Worth.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, brother. Good, brother. Hey, I just wanted to touch on what Randy called about earlier about the running game. And I just want to remind everybody, I called before week one and basically just said, like, hey, it's going to take some time for this offensive line to gel together. They're a unit. Things are just going to get better. So I just want to encourage him and anybody else who might be worried about it that things are going to get better. I'm very, very optimistic about that. I did want to mention that I'm excited that a lot of the defensive players after the game mentioned that they didn't even show the whole playbook. They only ran, I think Diggs said, we ran 3 different plays, and that's it, which is super exciting. And the last thing is a lot of people I feel like are overlooking the Saints just because. I'm not really sure why. I do feel like the Dallas Cowboys are a better team, but any NFL team that hangs 47, I think it was, on another team, I mean, that's something that you don't just, scoff at. That's pretty impressive. So I'm excited about this week, Nick. I'll be quick. I appreciate you, man, and I'll see you guys soon.
Well, thank you for the call. I mean, of course, the Saints they look good. I mean, it's not just 47; it's the 10. I mean, 47 on one end and giving up 10 on the other. And Carolina is Carolina. I mean, they're definitely struggling. They struggled last year, and they don't look to be after one game. They don't look to be that much better. So it's early, and it's funny you say that about the Cowboys only ran 3 plays, or that's what Diggs said. I mean, that can't make you feel good if you're Deshaun Watson. Just that they were pretty bland out there in their coverage, and it still looked like he was trying to solve the quadratic formula or something like that. He couldn't figure it out at all. So, but hey, you said that about the Saints. Remember this part too. They don't play here a lot. I mean, I know they're in the NFC, but they don't come here a lot. It seems like the way the rotation has been. You will hear their fans. Their fans will be here. It's not a far trip. There's a lot of Saints fans. They're very loyal, and there's a lot of Saints fans that are still in Dallas. After Hurricane Katrina, there's a lot of fans in this area that are big Saints fans. They will be at the game. They will be loud. They will be, they'll stand out. You'll see the gold and the black. They'll be there, and so it'll be a game that it'll be a good crowd. It'll be intense, and I'm sure that they're very excited about their team right now. So I wouldn't overlook them at all. I think the Cowboys should win the game, but we've seen it before where if they don't come out and play well. And they don't, they turn the ball over. Anything can happen for sure. All right, we're going to take another break here on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back with more questions.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Come shop at the Star in Frisco on Saturday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Flea Styles Market at the Star, presented by Marketplace by Michaels. Admission is free. Visit stardistrict.com for more information. All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. We got time for some more questions. We're going to go with Michael in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Michael, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I just got a quick question. I know how fast the NFL is, so already having to look towards the Saints game. What are the big things that we're going to have to contend with from the Saints?
Well, I mean, you have to. Their defense has always been very aggressive with Dennis Allen. He's an aggressive coach, and he likes to blitz a lot. So, I mean, it'll be. I'm not gonna say similar to the Browns, but it'll be a very very aggressive defense. It's kind of, it always reminds me a little bit of going up against Mike Zimmer's defenses. So you'll have to do that, and then they just do unique things. I mean, whether it's Taysom Hill or whatever. I mean, he didn't have a huge game there, but they're kind of unorthodox in the way they do things on offense, and it's still early in the season. Remember, both teams had comfortable wins, and so early on in the game, I mean, it was very clear that the Saints were going to win, and it was very clear that the Cowboys were going to win. So at that point, you're done showing stuff. You're done showing your unique plays and things like that. So my point is you still don't know exactly everything you're going to see from the Saints, and they don't know everything that the Cowboys have from their offense stuff as well. So I would still call it early in the year. Yes, there's one game under the belt for both teams, but probably more of a half, because in the second half, I think it turned very vanilla for both teams. And so that's why I would say McCarthy uses the term unscouted looks. We're still at that area, unscouted looks right now. So still a little bit early to tell, but I would imagine it's going to be a fun game, fun crowd, like I mentioned before, and we'll see how the Cowboys handle it and how the Saints handle it. It'll be their biggest challenge of the season by far. All right, phone lines are open, 888-855-2297. I'm going to get a text message question we've got from Alan. He's in Clearwater, Florida. He wants to talk about Mozzie Smith. Says on the stat sheet, he didn't even make an appearance with 0 tackles. Can you tell me what you saw from Mozzie on Sunday? Is there a reason to be optimistic, or is it the same thing with him at last year getting washed out? No, remember the position that you play. Aaron Donald kind of messed it up for everybody, for the defensive tackles, because Aaron Donald would make a lot of sacks and stats and show up. He was absolutely dominant. That's why he was 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. But usually at the defensive tackle position, you don't have a ton of stats. That's not really your goal, especially when you have the rushers on the outside. Your job is to fill the gaps, fill the lanes, and don't get knocked off the ball, and don't get blown away for a huge gap for a big run. That's why they added these big guys in the middle. It's a combination: Jordan Phillips, Linval Joseph, Osa. Now Osa, I thought, was very good in the game. He was by far the best defensive tackle and one of the best players on defense. But that's his job, getting up the field. Guys like Mozzie, though, hold your ground. You're not going to get a lot of stats. That's just not the way it's going to be. But if they start running the football and they running it right at them, then that's something that you need to look at. The Browns were not running the ball. Those defensive tackles held their own and allowed Eric Kendricks to go up and make plays. They all did it. They all did a good job. So that's the goal. I mean, you can't look at a first-round pick and just say, why aren't you getting 4 or 5 sacks? If you're looking at sacks for a guy like Mozzie Smith, you're not looking at it correctly, in my opinion. You need to make sure that the running game, the run defense is sound, and he's a big part of that. And it's one game, it definitely was sound. So that I would say look at them, and they did a nice job. All right, another text question here. This is Jonathan. He's from Port Neches, Texas. He says he's feeling much better about the run defense after seeing our linebackers against Cleveland. Overshown's closing speed on Watson was incredible to see. How are you feeling about the run defense after one game? Thanks, love the show. Thank you for the text message. I believe that, when I look at the way he runs, look at the way that Overshown, chased down Watson. I mean, that's just what you've got. It wasn't just that play. There were several plays there on the sideline where you just saw the speed. You saw him seeing it, processing, being alert, and then going and attacking the ball and getting there and cutting off angles. I mean, that's a huge play. When you think about a guy going on the sideline there, he's trying to get around the corner. Here comes Overshown. It's 2nd and 10. He thinks he's going to get there, and he knocks him out of bounds 4 yards short. 3rd and 4, as opposed to just not making that angle. And maybe it's a first down, maybe it's 3rd and 1. Completely different play. Angles matter. Getting to the ball obviously matters. And I just love the way, and not only when you get there, but bring the wood, and that's what Overshown certainly does. Just love his attitude, love the way he plays, and quiet as kept. I mean, Maris Leofau's the same type of player, not as tall and rangy maybe, but still the same type of guy that wants to go up there and just hit, and that's exciting to see too. So we can't stress enough just how different the linebackers look on this defense, and that's something right off the bat when Zimmer was hired. That was something that we all talked about, was let's see how different the linebackers are after one game. It's been amazing. All right, Lester in Minnesota is next. Lester, what's up?
Hey, how you doing out there, Nick?
How are you? First time caller.
Yeah, first time caller, long time Cowboys fan.
Here we go. Lester, what's on your mind?
They call me Cowboys since '77. That's when I started being a Cowboy fan. I was a little bitty boy and grew up in Chicago.
All right.
But I just got one thing to say to everybody who's saying everything about, well, we should do this, we should do that. I'm just gonna quote my favorite quote from Jim Plunkett. I believe he said this in 1983 or so, a long time ago. Anyway, the reporter after the game was asking him a question. Hey, Jim, can you tell us? You guys had 5 turnovers. I'm paraphrasing. You guys had 5 turnovers, almost 6. You almost lost a fumble. You had 1 fumble you lost. You threw 4 interceptions. Can you explain that? And then Jim Plunkett said, did we win the game? He said, yeah. He said, that's all that matters.
Yep. All right.
So that's all I'm going to say to the Cowboy fans. Don't worry about all that stuff. As long as we win, we good.
Yeah.
I'm out.
All right. Well, I mean, that's good. I understand that. You're right. As long as you win the game, but you also you have to know that you've got to be good with the ball, and you've got to still clean up some things, because it's going to be better. You're going to face quarterbacks that know how to complete passes, and you're going to face one this week. So you've got to be sound in that. You've got to be better than what you were there. You've got to run the football better than you had, because there's going to be games where field goals aren't going to win. That was one where field goals are going to win. Last night, look at the game that the 49ers had on Monday night against the Jets. Look at the way they played. I mean, it was apparent that they were better than the Jets, and so there was times where they could have maybe gone for it, but just keep getting points, just keep kicking field goals and winning the game, and helping me win my fantasy game. All that's good, but but just get points, and that's where there are games like that. But it's not always going to be that way. Let's go to Robbie in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Robbie.
What's up, Nick? How are you today?
Good, man. What's up with you?
Nothing. I got one question. I rewatched the game. Okay. I actually have 2 questions.
Okay.
First one, you think our running back's still out on the street or on a different team someplace?
No.
A leading rusher for the year? You don't think so?
No, I don't believe so now. I mean, I don't know who.
I mean, like I said yesterday, I'm happy with the offensive line, man. If they keep playing like that and gelling better, I see us rushing for a lot of yards. And I guess I don't really care who's back there.
Yeah. I mean, they could make a trade with somebody, a starting running back that's maybe in the last year of the contract or something like that. I could see maybe that happening, but when we already one game in.
Would you like to?
Let's just see. I mean, right now I'm okay with what it was in the running game. Let's see. I mean, after one game in a game like that, they got out of hand, and the Browns are playing with pride in the second half and trying to shore up the run, and they're not going deep. They're playing very, very conservative. They're going to run.
Right.
The Browns know it. I can't really tell much from that game. I mean, the first half, the running game looked okay to me. And that's really when it was a game. And so I've only really seen a half. Let's see in one more game against the Saints that aren't, that they're not the number 1 defense in the NFL from the year before. Let's just see that. And then after a game or two, I think that's why the trade deadline is what it is. You still kind of want to fill out your own team and see what you've got.
Very fair. We've got one more? Got time for one more?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so Romo said in his football life, he said he felt in the last couple of years of his career that he was just starting to understand the game.
Right.
You think Dak's there?
I think there's
the same
part
area?
of that. Yeah. I don't know if he would say the same thing, but I think that was my point earlier, that you're never too far into your career to keep learning and to keep figuring things out. And so, I think Dak is still learning some things. He's still learning on how to make certain throws. I think what Romo was talking about was torquing his body in a certain way and throwing a deep ball or a fade or stuff like that. So I get what Tony was saying, and I think there's elements of that Dak certainly would agree with.
All righty, my friend.
Right.
That's it. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
All StoryLine team, buddy.
Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate that. Let's go one more caller here. Ronnie in New Jersey. Ronnie, what's up? Ronnie, are you there?
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. All right. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. This was a fun game in our point of view.
Sure.
Nick, with all these linebackers that we have, I mean, you think maybe we could throw now, they'll start throwing like some 3-4, start mixing it up? Because, we have more depth and seems like we have great skilled players. I mean, the linebackers are fast, hard-hitting. I see this defense converting more towards like a 3-4 or a mix of both because of the linebackers that we have. And this O-line, like the guys were saying, I think this O-line is only going to get better with time. That's only going to make the running game better with time. And Dak, I mean, wow. This was a fun game. But now, I forgot the other guy that he was mentioning. I want to see when they play the Niners, when they play the Saints, when they play complete teams. That's what I would like to see. What happens then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, thank you, Ronnie, for the call. Before they start switching to a 3-4 and all that kind of exotic stuff, let's get them to master what they're doing right now. I'll say this: let's tap the brakes a little on how great the defense looked in that one game, because I think superstars carry teams. I believe that. I think when you have an elite player, it makes other guys around them better. Deshaun Watson is not an elite quarterback. Amari Cooper is a really great route runner, and he's a really good receiver. I don't know if he's elite. I think I don't think he's one of the top ones. I think he can be good, and we've seen it. We've seen him be very good with the Cowboys, but I don't think he is one of the game's best. They don't have a great running back right now, or tight end, or even the offensive line. So they don't have anything that's like that person is a difference maker, a perennial Pro Bowler, and all that. There's going to be games obviously coming up here soon. This week, we'll see. I don't know if the Saints, you would say that about the Saints either, but definitely in the next game with Lamar Jackson, their quarterback and the MVP. So all I'm saying is that let's see it before they're really tested, before we start changing schemes and they can do this and that. They haven't been tested as much as they're going to be, and but that's why we don't jump ahead here. We let the season ride out, and after one game, it looked really good for the Cowboys. Let's see what happens the next week. But we will talk about that and a lot more tomorrow. Remember, every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central, we're here on Cowboys Storyline. So we will see you next time on the Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!